Hello again, and I realise I very recently posted some news about the new 1300 GS, but I thought I'd try and catch up and get more up to date with our news stories. And well, there's this one item in particular that I just can't resist talking about, mainly because it irritates me just a little, although I'm sure it's a very capable bike. I'm going to start then with the third version of the limited series of bikes that Brabus has produced on the back of KTM's 1290 Super Duke R Evo. Cast your minds back to 2022 and you will recall that Brabus unveiled its first limited edition bike in collaboration with KTM. 154 examples of the Brabus 1300R were made, 77 of them in red, the other half of the production run in black. Apologies, that should be magma red and signature black. The collaboration with KTM seems to have involved 99% of the work being done by KTM, since they provided a fully homologated 1290 Super Duke R Evo, onto which Brabus bolted some carbon fibre bits and bobs, a pair of fancy rims and a heated seat. As far as I can tell, apart from a slip-on exhaust can, that's the very limited extent of any changes that might actually affect the Super Duke's performance. It does look pretty good. Nothing really special though, at least to my jaded eyes, and I'd certainly not argue with you if you were to suggest that the original KTM headlight arrangement provides a significantly more distinctive and memorable look than the Brabus's incongruously traditional round replacement. I understand that money and value are not considerations in buying decisions for bikes like this, but I'd still rather give the standard Super Duke Evo to a talented custom builder for something of a light workover and creative paint job and end up with something truly unique rather than this cookie cutter version of exclusivity. Although I may not be impressed with the skin deep performance enhancements, there is no denying the true expertise of Brabus, and that is in its marketing skills and providing access to a client list of outrageously wealthy individuals who will happily fork out their version of pocket change for what is actually, for the rest of us, a very expensive motorcycle. Much of this expense will be justified by touting this limited availability machine as an investment, a model that is so rare that it will only ever appreciate in value, especially if the owner never actually rides it. Fair enough, the bike did sell out in minutes, or maybe it was even seconds, via the KTM website, I think it was, but that argument must surely have lost some of its persuasiveness when, less than a year later, the Brabus 1300R Edition 23 was unveiled. An admittedly cursory and undeniably unprofessionally brief glance at the spec sheet suggests that it's effectively exactly the same bike. In order to differentiate it from the presumably more exclusive first edition, there's some different colours. Well, one different colour. This model is theoretically, though, only half as desirable if rarity is your thing, with 145 super black and 145 stealth grey examples being produced in a run of 290 bikes, making the limited edition Brabus 1300R production run into a not so limited total of 444. Hopefully you didn't order a black one, because there's 222 of those hanging around now, 50% of that total in fact. How unbearably common. However, much as it seems as though this Brabus parody should now have reached its natural conclusion, we have news of a third and final instalment in the story. This is apparently the last of these limited production runs, but probably not really, since the wording of the press release ties the final instalment spin to the 1290 Super Duke. Since it is pretty much an open secret that the model is going to grow in size somewhere closer to 1400cc for 2024, you may rest assured that Brabus will be back with more not really very limited edition bolt-on specials in the future. This time though, we have a run of just 50 bikes, 25 of them in diamond white and the other half in, you've probably guessed, black. Onyx black to be precise. Otherwise, despite a sudden surge of excitement when I glimpsed some wording around carbon fibre swing arm, this is of course the same bike but with some new stick-on bits, including a carbon fibre swing arm cover. The ultimate creation in the series is to be known as the Masterpiece Edition. I kid you not. All that carbon that's been bolted and stuck on is now joined by some gold highlights, and immediately the word that springs to mind is, quite understandably, masterpiece. I can't even begin to comprehend the lack of self-awareness, the catastrophic overdose of narcissism required to name yourself your blatantly unoriginal, mass-produced ersatz Super Duke Evo a masterpiece. It's up to the audience, the viewer, the individual appreciating your latest endeavour to determine whether it rises to the stratospheric heights of masterpiece, not the artist himself. Though, to be fair, that probably does happen quite frequently. The €42,000 Brabus Masterpiece is a quite funky, not particularly good-looking parts bin special that is in no way a work of art in a world full of 100+ years worth of truly beautiful and innovative engineering creations, and to suggest so is sacrilegious claptrap that deserves to be laughed out of existence. Better calm down, yeah. That rant got a little bit out of control there, but really this is just a case of marketing gone mad. Quite possibly the ultimate incarnation of style, or supposed style, over substance. It's a strange combination for sure. The ready-to-race nutjobs at KTM with all their boundary-pushing technology and innovation, and the brash, in-your-face wannabes at Brabus. Doesn't work for me, but there's no denying it works for them because they keep selling out of these monstrosities, these insulting two-wheeled trinkets for the rich and infamous. Right. Let me move on to something less likely to spike my blood pressure, and I'll end on a positive, happy note. It might be a bit of a stretch to deem the Honda Motocompacto a bike, but it's definitely a scooter, at least a short range one, and it could well help introduce people to the world of two wheels, so that's got to be a good thing. What we have here is an electric scooter-ish thingy that features a very small battery, so in exchange for a limited range of 12 miles and a top speed of 15 miles an hour, it weighs in at only 18.7 kilos. And that means you can easily wheel it along once it's been quickly, easily and cleverly folded up, just as you would a suitcase. The small battery means it can be charged up from a normal wall plug in about 3.5 hours. And given the small dimensions, getting it inside and even into a lift shouldn't be a problem. It has been designed primarily for the likes of college campuses, with the American market in particular very much in mind. And given its green credentials and the spread out nature of many of these campuses, there's a definite logic to the Motocompacto. The price is a shade under $1,000, or about 20,000 rand. Pretty good, really. And that's my dose of the biking news done for now. See you soon.